Really had to cap this one off, too, in the red zone, and they did just that. Beautiful catch. If we could just get the signal. Still nothing. Still waiting. Still waiting. Lions are coming off the bye, looking to avenge last year's controversial loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Both Dallas and Detroit enter in off victories, but appear to be in different places as we get into this game of the week. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Johnny Gaz. Thank you for returning for another video. The Lions will travel back to Jerry World for a Week 6 matchup, late afternoon kickoff on Sunday, October 13th, 4:25 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Let's go through our full game preview. We'll look at the headlines and storylines, our key matchups, the X factors, and the differences in the game. And at the end of the video, I'll give my final prediction and score. So definitely stick around. Let's go. Before we all report as eligible, make sure to like the video if you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports. I'd love it if you consider subscribing to the channel. We're just over 2,000 thanks to you guys. If you hit that notify bell, it's the best way to make sure you don't miss any future videos. There is a membership option now available. That's where I do all my live game play-by-play reactions and a ton of other fun content, but there is always fun free stuff here for you all the time. Thank you guys so much for the recent involvement. Make sure to comment down below. Who do you have in this Week 6 matchup, Detroit or Dallas? Can Detroit defend this controversial loss that they had in Jerry World last year? Let me know down in the comments below. Let's dive into Week 6. Let's kick it off with the headlines for this Week 6 Game of the Week matchup, Detroit Lions, Dallas Cowboys. The Detroit Lions come in at 3-1 off of their early bye week, and they do come in relatively healthy. Good news is they are getting back all-pro center Frank Ragnow, as well as their jack-of-all-trades safety Brian Branch. Their 6th-round draft-picked offensive lineman Christian Mahogany has been granted off of the NFI list and the 21-day open window for practice. He is not guaranteed to make the active roster, but that is good news for the Lions' offensive line depth. The Lions come in off of an offensive explosion versus the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football, but do have questions defensively. Their secondary is giving up major yardage and seem to have some issues with penalties. The Lions historically have had some tough times in Dallas. We won't talk about the most recent matchup. The Lions are aware of the issue, but are extremely focused on what is ahead of them. On the other end, the Dallas Cowboys enter this matchup at 3-2, coming off of their comeback victory at Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. Dak Prescott and the offense have been very up and down since their Week 1 impressive victory over the Cleveland Browns, but we all know what's happened with that team since. Unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys have been hit with the injury bug, especially on defense. They were already without defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence, who was on injured reserve. They are still dealing with the Micah Parsons injury. He is questionable and will be a game-time decision. Rookie defensive end Marshawn Kneeland also suffered an injury last week to his knee. He is doubtful for this Week 6 matchup. Cornerbacks Deron Bland and Kalen Carson are both questionable. However, Deron Bland is leaning towards playing in this Week 6 matchup. Offensively, Dallas will be without wide receiver Brandon Cooks and have questionable offensive tackle Tyler Guyton. Now let's discuss what I believe will be the key matchups in this game of the week between Detroit and Dallas. I think the biggest matchup will be the Lions rushing offense versus the Cowboys rushing defense. Dallas ranks 10th as far as yards given up in the NFL. We just talked about the injury concerns that Dallas has in their defensive front seven. Over the last 15 games, opponents against Dallas have averaged over 4+ yards per carry and over 100 yards per game. We know what the Lions' strength is. Maybe the best offensive line in football, the best running back duo in football. They really can get at it, and I think that's where the Lions really have the leg up here in this matchup. The second key matchup in this game, I think, is the Cowboys' passing offense versus the Lions' secondary or their pass defense. The Lions like to play man press coverage. And just to get specific with it, CeeDee Lamb averages the most yardage per route versus man coverage, 4.33. That's the most in the NFL, ahead of Justin Jefferson. We know the Lions have the revamped secondary, and especially with rookie cornerback Terrion Arnold, who has now been deemed to be kind of penalty prone. So can the Lions secondary defend what is a very potent passing attack by the Cowboys? The third key matchup, I think, for this game will be the Lions defensive line versus the Dallas offensive line. We talked about the Tyler Guyton potential injury, and in general, Dallas has had trouble protecting Dak Prescott. And I think the Lions have shown that they certainly can get pressure. Now, can they get home is the other side of this story, and that will be this matchup that I discuss here. Can the Lions get home? Can they put enough pressure on Dak to cause a difference in this game? And in any big matchup like this, you got to look at the quarterbacks. Jared Goff versus Dak Prescott. Over this season, Dak Prescott is 125 for 191. That's a 65.4 percentage for 1,424 yards. He has 8 touchdowns to 4 interceptions and a 92.9 rating. Versus the Lions over his career, he has a 67.9% completion rate at 1,463 yards, 11 touchdowns to 1 interception, a 118.6 rating, and he is 5-0 versus the Lions in his career. On the other side, Jared Goff in 2024, 88 of 124 for a 71% completion rate, 1,015 yards. Keep in mind he is 1 game short because of the bye week, 5 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, a 95.3 rating. Versus Dallas over his career, Jared Goff, 114 for 178. That's a 64% rating, 1,313 yards, 5 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, an 81.5 rating. He is 2-3 over his career against Dallas and 0 for 2 with the Lions. 2 different style quarterbacks here, both winners. But I think the difference is I think they're entering kind of at different places. Jared Goff coming off that historic, perfect performance on Monday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks. He is riding some serious momentum. Dak Prescott playing well himself, but has been up and down. Sort of had to lead his team to a comeback there against the Steelers, despite some other bad things happening in that game, as well as the elements and some other things. It'll be an interesting matchup here, but I do give the leg up to Goff because of the protection I think he'll have in this matchup versus what the strength of the defense, which typically is that front seven for the Cowboys. With all those injuries up front, I think Detroit is able to protect Goff, which ultimately makes him a better quarterback, and I think gives the Lions the edge in this matchup. Let's talk about some of the players that will make the ultimate difference in this Week 6 matchup, the X factors. Starting on the Dallas side, CeeDee Lamb. We just talked about one of the key matchups in the game being the Dallas passing offense versus the Lions secondary. Well, I think you got to start with CeeDee Lamb. Back in 2023 in this matchup with the Lions, he had 13 receptions for 227 yards and a touchdown. He was fantastic. The truth is, can the Lions defend an elite wide receiver? They have yet to prove that. This is a great opportunity for a young, revamped Lions secondary to show that they are making the ultimate difference here in 2024. Another X factor, I think, are the 2 Lions running backs, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, who have proven that they are the best running back duo in the NFL. Behind this offensive line, I think they are truly elite. Detroit is 6th in rush yards currently per game. Dallas ranks 24th in rush yards defended. The D-line injuries are a true concern for Dallas at this point, and it could open things up for this Lions running game. And lastly, we just touched on it in our QB comparison, but I think the man that has the leg up is Jared Goff. He's coming off that 18 for 18 performance on Monday Night Football. A clean Jared Goff usually means a Lions offensive explosion, and I believe that with those injuries on the defensive side of the football, with the health coming in with the Lions on their offensive line, and in general, I just think the Lions have the true strength here as far as their front seven, and I think that makes the ultimate difference, which means Jared Goff will be a true X factor. And these previews sort of build and build and build to what this is here. The difference in the game between the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys in Week 6, with all of these factors considered, will be the Lions' strength on the offensive line versus that Dallas defense. Frank Ragnow, their All-Pro, is returning to the lineup and comes back relatively healthy. That just adds to the strength that is the Lions' offensive line. That combined with their running back duo and a really strong Jared Goff should mean another offensive explosion for the Lions in Jerry World here in Week 6. Lions Cowboys, Week 6, game of the week. Lions travel back to Jerry World trying to avenge that tough loss they suffered in 2023. Can they get it done? Let me know down in the comments. Who do you have in this awesome Week 6 matchup? Currently, the line in this game is the Lions minus 3.5, and the over-under is set at 52.5. With all factors considered, I have the Lions winning this football game in Week 6 in Dallas, 31-24. And I think the ultimate question is, can the Lions defense do enough to hold Dallas down? I think offensively, the Lions are starting to build the momentum that they had coming out of 2024 after kind of a slow start. That Monday Night Football matchup seems to show a lot of good things. The running game is always there. The play action game seems to be there. And as long as that offensive line is healthy, I think a lot of good things happen for this Lions team. And I think that ultimately makes the difference in this Week 6 matchup. So again, let me know who you have down in the comments. I appreciate you guys coming along for another video. If you like what we did here today, make sure to slap that like button. I'd also love it if you consider subscribing. We're just over 2,000 thanks to you guys. And if you hit the notify bell, it's the best way to make sure you don't miss future videos. The membership option is available. If you hit the join button on any of my videos, I'll walk you through how you can become a part of the family. More than anything else, make sure to take care of yourself and your mental health. That's most important. I want to make sure you come back and see me on future videos. Thank you guys so much for your time. Go Lions.